Hey, welcome to another episode of the Jim Roman Show. Today, we're going to be talking about creating raving fans, finishing up our series. Want to welcome you. So, again, welcome to another episode of the Jim Roman Show. In today's episode, we'll be talking about creating raving fans that refer. If you've been joining us a part of this series, this four-part series, we've been talking about the 5 functions of a business. You can get a copy of the 5 functions of a business on our university at businessownersuniversity.com in our Start Here program for free, plus a couple of other tools. And if you've been joining us and talking about the 5 functions, in the first episode, I talked about how as business owners, entrepreneurs, managers, we wear many hats. And those hats, those burdens, those roles, those responsibilities can be overwhelming. I told a story about how I came up with the 5 functions. It was one Sunday, I was drinking a cup of coffee, thinking about getting out of my business and was looking for a job. And I said, if I were to get a job, what kind of jobs would I do? And I found that I could do easily 10 jobs out there. And I realized as a business owner, entrepreneur, and manager, I have a lot of hats. I have a lot of jobs, and that became overwhelming. And so this series really to start to help you manage that, control that overwhelmed feeling. So the 5 functions, if you were in the first episode, number 1 is bringing in business. You need to bring in business to have a business. And we talked about how marketing, networking, selling, and referrals can help you to do that. We also talked about the second function of the 5 functions is hiring and training. We went a little bit deeper than normal and we talked about how to go about hiring and training by having a plan before, during, and after the hiring process. I shared with you, a lot of times people say it's hard to find good people. And I find a lot of times it's not the people, it's the lack of a process to vet out the wrong people. In fact, we're having a special episode in February, a coffee with a coach with Kay Congdon, a people and performance expert. And we're going to be picking her brain on how to hire right, but more importantly, how to retain the right people. So join us for that episode. Send us some questions you want me to ask Kay for our coffee with the coach in February. The third function is getting the work done. Getting the work done. How do you get it done? You're bringing it in. Now you got to get it done. You're bringing more in. Now you got to get more of it done. And we talked about how there are 3 capacity constraints to every business. In fact, I wrote a recent article on the constraints and capacity of business that you're probably going to want to read really, really soon. But you can only get that copy of that article if you request it in the comments below. In fact, as we're going through this this session today, please comment below, questions below, etc. But ultimately, getting the work done, you have to understand the crunch capacity that constraints a business will own and how to deal with that. We talked about that from an organizational perspective and getting people in the right position and getting them to perform. The fourth function is admin finance, delegating those things that you're not good at, you don't want to do, and so on and so on. You can check out the previous episode where I talk about how I delegated something a long time ago and never looked back. And because I delegated that, it gave me the muscle to delegate the next thing and the next thing. And now I have an amazing team helping me impact more people around the world. And then the 5th function is what we're going to be talking about. That is creating raving fans, creating raving fans. And there's a book on that. You can see it behind me as well, creating raving fans. And what I find a lot of times that people don't take the time beyond the transaction, and in some cases during the transaction, to create raving fans. Because I believe if you can create raving fans, they're going to rave about you, they're going to refer you, and they're going to even give you reviews. And I don't know about you, but I can benefit from reviews and referrals and people raving about my business. So in today's episode, we're going to go a deep dive, finish up this series and help you create more raving fans to bring in business, to have the money to hire people to get the work done. So number 1, what could you do to create raving fans? Well, one of the things I believe is that 80% of your business can come from people you already know. 80%. But most people aren't tapping into that 80% of the people that they know. They're spending money on advertising and going after totally new people. They're creating funnels to get prospects, leads of people they don't know. But you already know people who know the type of people you would probably want to meet. So creating raving fans, getting them to rave and refer you is a game changer. So what would I do? Some of the things that I would do to create raving fans. Number 1, with my current clients, you've heard me say this time and time again, especially last year, is doing caring calls, calling your clients to care for them beyond the transaction, calling your former clients to care for them, just to check in on them. I don't need to belabor that, but you've heard me talk about this endless times. And I find when I call to care, not to sell, but I call to care, ultimately they rave about me, referrals come my way, and the revenue associated with those referrals. Number two that you could do to create raving fans is to create content that adds value to your community. For example, one of the things you could be doing is writing a blog. I recently wrote a blog, as I mentioned, capacity crunch capacity, consistency, etc., that I will be privately giving that out to certain key people that I believe would find value in that. You could do webinar and seminars. If you're not a person who wants to do webinar and seminars, maybe you sponsor a webinar and seminar. But everybody can figure out a way to create content that adds value. Let me give you an example. Years ago, I used to own 2 BNI franchises in Central Virginia. And one of our mentors suggested that we would do advanced training beyond the chapter meetings, advanced trainings. And we would give this advanced training for free. Come to find out, no one around the world was doing that except for our inner circle. We're doing free advanced trainings. And guess what those advanced trainings were on? Not how to do BNI, Business Network International, but how to make money from BNI. BNI does great in teaching you how to do BNI, but what if we teach people how to make money from BNI, or make money from the chamber, or make connections from a chamber? Add value. Adding value creates raving fans. What was interesting, I didn't know how powerful this free training was until we stopped doing it. We started to peel back that we went from doing it 6 times a month to 3 times a month to 1 time a month. That I hear now, because I no longer own that business, I sold it, they do 0 a month, advanced trainings. People would call me up and go, oh, why are you getting rid of the trainings? I'm like, what are you talking about? Well, we love that. I'm like, well, I have to have a life too. And so I'm backing up a little bit, trying to say no to some more things so that I have more time to have a life. But we love that. And I'm like, wow, I didn't realize how much of a difference it made and how it helped people make more money from their networking efforts. And what happened? Rave, reviews, and referrals. Creating audience. So after I sold that business, I'm doing this business now for over 16 years. This month is our 16th anniversary. I'm super excited. We're going into our 17th year right now. So congratulations to us. And so I said to myself, what can I do that I used to do in BNI for my business here? Well, years ago, we started doing weekly Wednesday lunch talks. Every Wednesday for 6 years straight, from 11:30 to 1, we would do a networking event, a added value event, and created content. We had speakers speak on various topics. And interesting enough, we would have on average 25 to 30 people every single week for 6 years straight to those events, and had special guest speakers. And a lot of times we would have more guests there. And that was my way of giving back to my community, giving back to my connection to create raving fans. And guess what happened? Those raving fans referred us business. They referred guests to these events. Those people saw me speak, and from there they saw that I had a great heart. I really want to make a difference in businesses' lives, and ended up having them wanting to sit down for one of our free consultations, one of our free coaching calls. And next thing you know it, they become a client. So my question to you below in the comments, whether you're watching this live or recorded, what could you do to create content that adds value? Post that below. Is it to create a newsletter, to sponsor an event, sponsor a webinar, do a webinar, create a podcast, maybe create a series of articles and or blogs that you could send out to your connections to add value, so that they ultimately rave and refer you, give you reviews. What else can you do to add value, create raving fans? Well, the third thing you can do is to create an experience for your customers. Let me say that again. This is huge. Create an experience for your customers. One of those things is from the book Indispensable. One of my favorite books, I have a lot of favorite books, I should say, is Being Indispensable by Joe Calloway. And you'll see the title, How to Become a Company Your Customers Can't Live Without. What I love about this essentially says what I teach today on the concept of creating raving fans: go above and beyond the transaction. Get people to a point where if they left you, they would feel a loss. They would feel alone, and that they missing out on what you have to offer. Another way of looking at that is in the book E-Myth. I've talked about this before. Michael Gerber talks about creating experience for your first customer to have the exact same experience as your 1,000th customer, versus it's winging it and it's different for each person. Well, if it's different for each person, you have a different onboarding process, a different experience, then you don't get that momentum, that ravingness that they will start to refer you and review you. But again, being indispensable to your customers makes the world of difference. So how can you do that? Comment below, how can you create an experience? For me, one of the things that I would be able to do is to onboard. How I onboard my customers and clients is I will send them an email saying, welcome to Business Owners University, Business Owners Institute. Number 2, let me tell you what you're involved in now. Number 3, these are going to be your expectations. 4, this is my expectations. And then 5, welcome and thank you for being here. I have to drink some water. So let me say that again. How I would create an experience and how I have created experience is how I onboard new customers. They get an email from me welcoming them to Business Owners Institute. What is expected of them? What's expected of us? Here's their coaches, and welcome again to our organization. Welcome to our community. Could you create an onboarding process? Whether you're a realtor and you're onboarding a new listing, you're onboarding a new buyer, if you're a property manager, are you onboarding a new tenant, owner, investor, team member? See, a lot of times it begins at the transaction, in some cases before the transaction. So I would have you consider, number 1, what can you do to create content that adds value? Number 2, do those caring calls. And 3, in this case, create an experience that people can't live without you. They want to tell other people about your business. I think this is a critical component. I have a couple of other components, but I think if you can create that experience, it will be a world difference. Let me give you a couple of other books that you might want to look into. Never Lose a Customer Again, right? Turn Any Sale into a Long Loyalty in 100 Days. Appreciation Marketing. Thank you. Thank people. And then Giftology, using gifts to create raving fans. So there's different ways of creating raving fans. I just thought I'd share some of those from my perspective. So let's talk about creating raving fans so that you get referrals. How do you get referrals? I love this topic. So for some of you, one of the things that you can do to create raving fans to get referrals is to create a referral network or learn how to work your network effectively. One of the things you could do is create a referral program. Years ago, I was reading about an article about a company who had a referral program, and I realized I didn't have a referral program. So I created one, and I'll share you with that right now. And hopefully you might want to refer us, and I'll look to guarantee this. This was years ago, and I think we'll do it this March. And it was actually March Madness. We created a referral program. A lot of times people create referral programs. If you refer them, they'll give you cash, and cash is not the #1 incentive. A lot of times it doesn't work. Some people want it, but long-term, most people don't. Okay. They just want to know that you do a good job for their referrals is all they're asking for. But if you're going to create a referral program like I did, I'll tell you what it was. March Madness. In fact, my team is watching this right now. We're probably going to come up with a March Madness. In March, in the month of March, if you refer us business and it turns into closed business, for whether it's for our coaching program, our classes online, or our consulting where we come into your company and help you get the work done, I will give you your choice of one of 3 things. Number 1, I will give you a $250 credit towards coaching services. And if you're already a client, I will give you $250 towards next month's coaching services. Or I will give you your choice of a $100 gift card to the restaurant of your choice, or a $100 gift certificate to a retail place of your choice. So in the month of March, our March Madness referral program is if you refer us a piece of closed business that they do business with us, whether it's coaching, consulting, or classes, I'll give your choice of $250 credit towards next month's coaching services. I will give you a $100 gift certificate to a restaurant of your choice, or a $100 gift certificate to your retail of your choice. Let me tell you what happened. What happened was I offered up this program during March Madness, and one of my clients referred me 3 pieces of closed business. I was just in shock, right? So by having a referral program, you're going to get more referrals, right? Most likely. And so I went up to this gentleman, his name's Garth, and I said, hey, Garth, what would you like? And Garth says, well, I'm not sure, Jim. I said, well, you can get $250 credit towards next month's coaching services. And he goes, nah, I already write your services off. That's an investment. It's tax write-offable. No. I think, you know what I want, Jim? I want a restaurant gift certificate, and then I want a retail gift certificate. And I said, Garth, can I ask you why? He goes, well, yeah, my anniversary is coming up. So I want to take my wife to a restaurant, and I want to go to this Italian restaurant. So if you can give me a gift certificate, that'd be great. And then I would like a gift card to the Apple store. And I'm like, I mean, this guy makes good money. I'm like, why would you want an Apple store? Well, my wife says if I buy any more apps, I'm in trouble. So I can use your gift card to get more apps and not get in trouble. So I'll take that. And it was like, wow, what's the moral of the story? Number one, having a referral program that people can rave about. And number two, give them options other than cash, other than credit. And that's what I did. I gave them the three choices and actually had people choose between the three. All three were picked. Different people picked for different reasons. So there's something to consider. Because again, creating Raving Fans, get you the referrals, create a referral program, hopefully get you additional revenue. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Another thing you do to get referrals through Raving Fans is develop referral partners. Referral partners. I referenced in the book in the Bringing a Business episode, one of my favorite books is The World's Best Known Marketing Secret by Ivan Misner and Mike Macedonian. They talk about creating a word of mouth plan. So often people say they build their business by word of mouth, and so in most cases it's not true. You have to have a plan for that plan to work. And in The World's Best Known Marketing Secret by Dr. Ivan Misner and Mike Macedonian, talk about how to do that, how to network, what networks to network, who to network with, and then ultimately how to get business from those networks. I am so indebted to those two gentlemen and so many other directors in BNI around the world who helped me become the person I am today. So thank you for watching this. I really, really appreciate you guys. Hope you guys are doing well. So what would you do to create referral partners is finding people who target the same target market as you do. For example, if you are a realtor who deals with homeowners, people buying and selling houses, other than the mortgage person, the property casualty person, closing attorney. There are other professions that target that are not mortgage people, property casualty, closing attorneys, title companies, that normally don't refer a realtor. Find those professions that will refer you business. I could talk more about that in a future episode if you'd like. Just make a comment. You'd like to find out referral partners for realtors, and I'll be willing to talk to you or share that with you. You're a property manager. I talk to a lot of property managers who look to referral groups to see if that would be a great way to build their business. Well, I find in the property management industry, one of your best sources is realtors, right? How do you tap into realtors to refer you business? I could probably do a whole talk on that. If you'd like to learn more about that, let me know. Maybe I'll put a private episode just on that very topic. But on the opposite side of this, the realtors, is tapping into your current networks. Like, for example, going into people who know people, investing in real estate. People investing in real estate have 6 or 7 properties of their own. Eventually getting to a point where they can't manage them all by themselves. So there you want to find those people who know those people who are managing 6 to 7 properties themselves, ultimately want to be, want to have help with that through the property management. And then maybe you're a contractor. Contractors can do really, really well with referral sources, especially if a contractor wants to own a neighborhood. One of the best ways for realtors and contractors I have found is building a business around owning any neighborhood. You pick a neighborhood that you want to sell all the houses, you can create a contact sphere, a power team, a partnership with people who also target that same neighborhood, and you can ultimately own it. So when someone's looking to buy or sell a house, need their house fixed up, need their house managed, they come to you guys, you gals, and people like that. Finally, the last thing I want to finish up with in finishing up this episode and actually this series is reviews, getting reviews. See, ultimately, if we create Raving Fans by creating content that adds value, we create an experience for people to refer you business. I'm looking at my notes so I don't miss anything. Make caring calls, develop referral sources, referral programs, and referral partners. The last thing, if all else fails, meaning if you're not comfortable with those strategies and tactics, if all that fails or you fail to do that, is asking for reviews. Asking for reviews. You have people who love and trust you. You've impacted in their lives. And one of the creating raving fans for yourself is getting reviews. And one of the ways is just asking for recommendations. Going to LinkedIn, going to the recommendation and going through your contacts and ask for recommendations from people you've impacted, people who love and trust you. That is huge. Go through Google reviews, Facebook reviews. These will help your search engine optimization. These will help your credibility. People will start to know, like, and trust you, and more likely call you. So if you don't have a reviews program, I highly recommend you do that. It's real simple. You create an email with hyperlinks from Google, Facebook, and then also do one for LinkedIn, and just ask. You have nothing to lose by asking. I have asked dozens of people in the past for reviews and recommendations, and some have, and some have never replied. And you know what? I don't remember who didn't reply. And so either I didn't impact them enough, they didn't have the time to do it, but I do know the people who have. In fact, you can check out our reviews on Facebook, on LinkedIn, and even on our website to see the type of raving fans that we have. Because we practice what we preach. You always hear me say, knowledge is not power, it's the applied knowledge that truly makes a difference. So as we finish up these series, I want to talk about February. February, we have a special episodes for you the whole month of February, but I'll talk about that in a moment. But before I do, ultimately, in this series, we've been talking about how to build a better business so you can build a better life, right? And we talked about the 5 functions of running a better business. You can get, again, on Business Owners University, the Start Here program. There's this template, the 9 stages template we've talked about. But ultimately, if you want to have a better business, you need to know those 5 functions. So bringing a business, hiring and training, getting the work done, admin, finance, getting rid of the stuff you don't want to be doing, getting other people to help you. And then today we talked about creating raving fans that not only rave about you, give you reviews, but give you referrals. And that, my friends, will get you more revenue and complete that cycle, get you the momentum and that flywheel business that you've always wanted. So as always, I want to thank you for being here. Let's talk about February in a moment. So February. So you know that I've been doing this for quite some time. It was a way of me to create content to add value, give back, get people to know, like, and trust me. I don't do those weekly Wednesday live talks anymore, so I figured we'd do this. And so for the month of February, I'm super excited to announce that we're doing a Coffee with a Coach series. Coffee with the Coach series. So week 1, we're going to be talking about relationship leadership. How you have relationships as a leader to be able to build your organization, build your people. Week 2, we're going to have that special treat. Kay Congdon, Coffee with the Coach, will be talking about how to hire right, in the process, how to retain as well. The 3rd week, we're going to be talking about processes to get people to perform, processes to be able to free you up from the business. And then the 4th session, I will wrap up in creating an organizational stability and structure so that you can scale and not fail. And so we're going to have a whole series of Coffee with the Coaches. So if you're going to join us, please email us your questions about hiring, about growing, about capacity, about challenges, about whatever you want to learn from our coaches during our Coffee with the Coach series in the month of February. We would love to have you. As always, I'm Jim Roman. The more you know, the more we grow.